Going on, everyone? Welcome. Rabid here, and GPU mining is back. Like, seriously, look at the profitability across pretty much every GPU out there. We see one coin leading the charge, at least for most of them, minus the CMP, but it's mostly due to the fact that I don't think the CMP even has a Leo in for this, so it's showing other coins, but everything else is pretty much all a Leo, and it's for good reasons. The emissions on this coin we haven't really seen since Ethereum went to POS. This has the options here to absorb a lot of hash rate, and with that means more hash rate moving on to Leo should come off other networks, and maybe the profitability will be picking up on other coins as well, because that's the only reason they were profitable before. It's because Ethereum did have 95% of the GPUs out there mining on it. So a Leo is kind of taking Ethereum's place here. It's not as large, but it is pretty big deal here, and let's take a look at it. So it's really hard to get information about this coin, so I got a couple different ways here to figure out what the heck are the emissions on a Leo and how much GPUs can it actually hold, because I want to know, yes, we're seeing profitability, but usually when there's profitable coins, especially on hashrate.no, GPUs move over to it and then the profitability just dies very, very fast. Well, people have been moving over to it and the profitability is still high. So what the heck are those emissions? And that's what I'm trying to figure out here. So if we come into hashrate.no, we can see what it is saying. Now, I don't think these are right here, but we can say a block reward of 98.51 a Leo. I don't think is correct, because in their Discord they did mention it's 21.63 or something, and here it's saying a block time of 25 seconds. Now if I actually come into what do we got here? Mining pool stats here. It is saying an average block time of 2.9 seconds. 3 seconds is what I did my numbers at, because it was at that. First time I seen 2.9, but it's saying around 3 seconds average block time here. And if we scroll down, we can see, remember, mining pool stats is always, you know, a few minutes behind. And as we can see, last time I updated here was 4 minutes ago, 5 minutes ago, 6 minutes ago. If you add up all these, there's about 17 or 18 blocks being found per minute here. So that's about 3 seconds under. That's about 57 seconds worth of blocks being found at 3 second block time. So it is pretty close based on what these blocks are being found. So I went with those numbers as well. And I kind of took all these things together, as well as the Aleo Explorer here. We can see an estimated hash rate is right now, it's saying it's 613 gigahash per second. It's saying GP/S, but regardless, you know, gigahash is what we're going with here. And the Aleo per megahash is 0.656. So I kind of did all the calculations based on this, and I used all these different methods to figure out what the heck is the emissions of this coin and what's the closest to what I'm actually getting paid out. And also coming into the latest blocks here, we can see, looking at this, it's always at least a minute here behind it, but they are within 3 seconds of all the blocks being found on here. So that's very interesting, as well as it looking like mining pool stats might be right. So now, trying to take all of that into account, you can see here I got a Leo based on mining pool stats numbers, a Leo based on hashrate.no numbers. I do have, get rid of that, a Leo Explorer based on the high range, so around 725 gigahash online, and sometimes it drops to as low as 426 gigahash. As we know, our hash rate's constantly changing. This is due to the fact that the puzzle is changing every epoch, so it's actually harder and easier to find that puzzle sometimes, which is why your hash rate is kind of changing. It's not really the algorithm changing, it's more like the difficulty is kind of changing there. So that's very interesting. And remember, ASICs will be coming, so all these numbers will be irrelevant when it does come to GPU mining, because this coin will eventually be gone sometime, possibly by the end of January, is the rumors of when those ASICs will be emerging. But looking at the emissions now based on all this, we can see based on mining pool stats numbers and the current price of $4.47, that's over $3 million. That's a lot. That is a lot of money. Still less than Ethereum, obviously, at 21.9 million and at the peak of 60 million. But if we can go to 10, 20, 40, $50 here, thanks to a Bitmain pump, obviously these numbers are going to be looking freaking huge and around where Ethereum really was. So that's pretty insane that we're seeing this type of levels right now. Anyway, moving on to hashrate.no, based on those numbers, that's about 1.5 million. And looking at the Explorer high, that is about 2.1 million, and the low is about 1.2. Now the point here is all of these are at least over $1 million per 24 hours. We have not had a coin like this since early Kaspa, I guess you could say, but that price was under a cent by quite a bit. So even though the block rewards are high, it wasn't even paying this much. So, you know, there's one thing to look out for there, but based on price pumps, obviously Kaspa was paying more than this as well early on. But the point here is we have a coin that's paying over $1 million, where other coins are sitting at like $200,000, you know, $30,000, things like that. They cannot support any hash rate. This is why we're continuing to see the profitability look decent on a Leo, even as GPUs move in. Now, I also wanted to see which one was the closest to mine. So here is the coins per day based on hash rate. I have about 6.33 mega hash online. Obviously, 12 coins, I'm not getting anywhere near that. 6 coins, I'm not getting that. 8 coins, I'm not getting that. I'm pretty much closest to this lowest one right here of 4.96. So actually coming in to the mining pool rewards yesterday for the full 24 hours, I was at 4.41 coins for 6.33 mega hash. So that is actually the closest I have gotten here. So now looking at the calculator over at F2 pool, it is saying based on the same hash rate that I'm only going to be getting about 3.87. So it's actually a decent amount less than what ZK pool is actually giving me. So this is still not tweaked all the way. So I am going to have to play with some numbers to try to figure out where I am right now. But again, this could be a range depending on that puzzle difficulty. You know, some days you're probably going to get more coins, some days you're not going to get more coins based on this, because you can see some days, you know, 2 days ago I was only getting 4.29 coins with more hash rate on the average. Now less hash rate on the average, I actually got more coins even though hash rate has been coming in. So that puzzle solving could change each day as well. So I do think I'm getting pretty close numbers here. Obviously not as high as this, but maybe also we don't know. Maybe all these pools could be lying to us and they got a lot higher fees than what they're actually telling us. But we are seeing good profitability here and a coin here that has very high emissions. Now to kind of look at the ASIC section, this was listed way back in February 23rd of 2023. So a year ago here, Apollo announced this. It never did release, probably because we're still in testnet and everything, but look at this. This is a zero knowledge proof ZKP cryptographic protocol in which one party, the prover, goes through all this stuff. We were talking about Ironfish when this first came out because it was really the only ZKP chain that was going around at the time, so we assumed maybe that was for this. But with all the rumors of Bitmain partnering up and Apollo working on a new miner and stuff, and we do know ASICs are going to be coming from Bitmain, possibly Apollo and some other manufacturers out there. The rumors are pretty much legit at this point. And now I don't know if this is fully for that, but this could possibly be the Leo miner that Apollo is working on. It's not listed anywhere on their website anymore, but I did finally find this old article when I did announce this thing long ago. Now, just to give you an idea of other coins online right now, sorted by emissions. Now, Kaspa is broken. It's about 1.2 million or something. So about where a Leo is right now. And then it disappeared. Sometimes it breaks, sometimes it's here. But looking at the top coins for proof of work mining, Bitcoin is obviously the top dog at sitting at 34 million right now. Dogecoin's at 1.5 million. Then when you look at the next GPU ASIC type of coins here, all we really have minus Kaspa would normally be right here at around 1.2 or so, on par where Leo is. But next one is Ethereum Classics, only $248,000 a day. Litecoin's at 242. Nervous is at 179. You know, Bitcoin Cash 148,000. Octa.Space is 90,000. Chia, like, where's the next GPU coin? We got Raven at only 59,000. We got Zealous here at 55,000, and then we got Virus here for CPUs at 29,000. Flux is only at 29,000. So compared to all these coins, like, you could literally add up all these coins from the top 3 to the bottom of this page and still only be about halfway or slightly over halfway. You'd be about 75% of the way of just a Leo mining alone. And that is why a Leo is so profitable. It is paying miners right now a crap ton of money. And this is pretty insane and pretty awesome to be a current GPU miner. Now let's just adjust a few numbers here. As previously, this thing was at a what? $6.50 or something like that. So let's just copy that and see. When we first started mining this coin, you know, we were making something like frickin', you know, $32 a day, $59 a day and stuff like that is what my rigs would be making. Now, this is not obviously the correct ones right now, but, you know, whatever. These ones are wrong. But point is here, based on all this, about $32.25. Now, what if this does go to something like, say, $20 or $30 from a Bitmain pump? Let's say this thing hits possibly $30. Say this is the only one that's been close to accurate for mine. That's simply $148 a day on my small little mining farm on my GPUs. I don't have that much hash rate for this compared to someone like Panda who has probably about 10 times this. So he's making probably over $1,000 a day if Bitmain does release here, which they will, and get that big pump up. I don't know what it's going to pump to. $30 is pretty high, but look at Ethereum. It went from $50 upwards to over freaking $4,000 in its bull run. And the bull run altcoin season is next year, so it's right around the corner. The other thing we were kind of concerned about with Aleo is the massive airdrop that was set to happen here to give a whole bunch of early people their coins. All right, so basing everything off the airdrops that were supposed to be coming here, it looks like there's a 1-year lockup from mainnet. And this just went mainnet sometime early this week, so only about a week ago. So 1 year from a week ago is when all this lockup period ends. So we are pretty safe to have all our coins in our bags for when that Bitmain pump does come in just like 3 or 4 months away. So that's actually good. The people who are actually involved in this, all the VCs and the airdrops and, you know, test nets and whatever else is supposed to be coming for all these airdrops, that's actually going to happen about this time next year is when they're finally going to get their coins. So you can see US residents, you know, 1 year lockup period starting. You know, you can pause this and read it for yourself. And the same for non-US, it's the exact same thing. If you're outside the US, it's still a 1 year lockup. So nobody is going to get any of their early coins until 1 year from now, pretty much. So we're pretty safe mining this and not have to worry about some type of massive dump. Now, I wanted to have a quick update here because I actually updated to all the network hash rates based on what hashrate.io is saying for the average. We're sitting at about 548 gigahash online. And then here, based on the Explorer, saying when we're at the high of 725 and the low of 426, we're seeing I'm actually getting a bit less coins based on, you know, the network hash rate here. And then here at it, I'm a little bit under, and obviously this is still too high. So this one here is not right, but these three here are actually pretty close to where we should be. So again, looking at those emissions now, we could be anywhere between $1 to over $2 million. But again, I have no idea what the heck the actual emissions are. But the point here is there is a freaking lot of it, and it is making mining looking pretty darn nice. All right, guys, so that pretty much does sum up this video. I just wanted to go through why Aleo is so profitable, and ultimately it comes down to this is a pretty massive coins with really high emissions, and it's able to absorb a lot of hash rate. So that's a good thing. Again, as people are moving over to Aleo, guys, check out other networks because the hash rate has to be falling off somewhere, and you could be building a lot of higher yield bags on other networks moving forward, depending on your crypto mining strategy. But thank you for checking this out, guys. I will see you on the next one. Rabid out.